Hey y'all, Mike with Cardboard Kingdom. Welcome back to another Disney Lorcana video. Today I want to talk about spreading yourself too thin. I think this is a mistake that a lot of collectors are making right now as they get into Disney Lorcana, and I want to talk about it a little bit today. Right now, I get the sense that a lot of new players are coming into TCGs, into Lorcana, new collectors coming into Lorcana, and this hobby is very unique in the sense that you can truly just plow capital into it. And that is good and it's bad. I think it's a great benefit of this hobby as an investment vehicle. I also think that it can be incredibly dangerous, right? And balancing that is a fine line. It's incredibly risky. And so with that being said, I'm having more people reach out to me to sell their collection than I have had previously. For the first year of this channel, I maybe had one person reach out, 1 to 2 people reach out. I think I bought 2 very small collections of people who just kind of got in over their head. They needed to sell their collection for 70 cents on the dollar and they sold it. I've had quite a few people reach out here as of late. Once again, relative, quite a few to me is like 5-ish. People reach out to sell their collection, which is great for me because I'm able to buy their collection for 70 cents on the dollar in a lot of cases. I'm able to keep what I want, piece out what I don't want, and I'm able to make a decent margin there and use it to, kind of fund my collection, which is great. And side note, plug, I will buy your collection if you're selling it. Reach out to me. But with that being said, I'm seeing more and more people I feel like just get overwhelmed. And it doesn't even sound like they're necessarily leveraged or taking on debt. It just sounds more or less that they're spreading themselves too thin. And I think that this comes from coming in, maybe you pull your first enchanted, maybe you play your first, game with a starter deck or whatever, you kind of get bought in and you start to spend money and you're just kind of throwing money at the wall and hoping it sticks. Because once again, this is something where if golf, for example, you can only play a certain amount of golf, right? You can't play 20 rounds of golf in a day. You buy your clubs. You can get new clubs every now and then, right? But you just don't need new clubs every day. You can go to the golf course once, or even you can play 2 rounds a day, right? But you're kind of capped at that from a pure time constraint. But you can literally buy unlimited cards, right? Or unlimited sealed stuff, or just the trading card game hobby is, once again, it's what you make of it. It can be incredibly rewarding and amazing, or it can become a deficit and a detriment very, very quickly, right? And so I think that as new people come into Lorcana, specifically collectors, I want to really re-emphasize the point of having a strategy and having a goal for your collection. So I want to share some of my goals and then kind of talk about goals that I've completed and then maybe talk about goals that I'm still going to, that I'm working towards. And that's something that I want to do a better job of moving forward of whenever I complete a goal, I want to do a short little quick video, maybe release it on a Sunday or something of hey, I completed this goal, the, Disney 100 and a PSA 10 set, right? Something like that, just, whatever, a very just goal that is easy to obtain. And as I complete it, just kind of share that with you guys because I think that'll help kind of reinforce the idea of setting clear goals for your collection. Because even someone like myself, I have a lot of interest in Lorcana, right? That's obvious. Now I have my play sets of my playable cards and binders for every set. I have my enchanteds, I have my promos, I have my sealed stuff, right? I've cast a very wide net. Now I'm doing that somewhat strategically, but for the play set side of things, I have binders of play sets of set 1 through set 7. I'm missing some few cards here and there, right? But for the most part, I would say they're 95% complete of full playsets. Rapunzel gifted with healing, Beast Tragic Hero, you name it, I've probably got 4 of them. So with that being said, I am much more of a collector than a player, but I love playing the game, right? And I love playing with my friends, and I'm able to build, whatever deck I want. Maybe they want to practice against a certain deck. I'm going to set championships here in 2 weeks, which I'm ecstatic for. I can kind of play around with what deck I want to take and build it the day of and take it, right? So I've got a lot of freedom as it comes to being a player. But I'm not going to any DLC events. I'm not going to Worlds. I'm not going to any big events to play. And so is it really necessary for me to be sitting on play sets of 7 sets of cards? Probably not. It's fun, but in reality, should I probably be selling off those playable cards more than I am to be able to fund the collection side of things, since that is my true passion? Probably, right? So there's one example for me where I should probably do better. Now, I'm still not at the point where I'm ready to do that. I know it's probably the right direction to go, but I just really like playing the game and I want to be able to build whatever deck I want. I also love the idea of like as my kids come more of age and they get more into Lorcana, if they want to go play a tournament, like, I've got the cards on hand and stuff like that. So, there's, voices on both shoulders kind of talking to me there. But that's an example where myself as a collector first, I don't know if I should be sitting on 7 sets of or play sets for 7 different sets. So that's an idea where kind of I struggle. So make sure that you really take some time, take a step back and say, all right, what do I want to focus on? For me, my goals are I want to have a PSA 10 of every promo card within Disney Lorcana. Secondly, I want to make sure that I have the cards that I know my daughter loves to look at, right? And that we enjoy collecting. That would be like princesses from the first chapter, graded or ungraded, right? My daughter just loves to look at the cards, so I want to have all of those. My Elsas, my Belles, my Auroras, Snow White, Alice Growing Girl from the second set, obviously Cinderella from Rise of the Floodborn. But it's like I want to have those on hand. Beyond that, she really likes to look at like other, like even just like uncommons from things like Big Hero 6, things like from Frozen, like Anna and Elsa. And so like I just want to have those on hand for us to enjoy. And those are really my goals. Like you guys know that I love promos, right? Talking about kind of the fundamentals, more the financial side of things with the what I older, mentor, scarcer, irrelevant, that the kind of fundamentals that I laid out in one of my previous videos. Like I think promos, like that's where I want to have a lot of my money that is in Lorcana tied up in. I want to have a good position in promos. And so, getting a PSA 10 set of all the promos is definitely my big long-term goal. Now, I'm nowhere near completed with that, but I could get pretty close, to be completely honest. Like, I could complete that goal if I sold off some of my other stuff. I could complete that goal tomorrow, but I'm not in a rush to do it. And I understand that these cards, like, guys, nothing in Lorcana is that rare that you have to make a play for it today. That simply just does not exist. That type of rarity definitely exists in something like Pokemon, where, if an illustrator comes up or one of these hyper rare cards, a tropical mega battle, etc., like if you don't buy that card, you may not see that card for another 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, right? You don't know how often these cards are going to come up at a given price. And so if you don't jump on it, you truly may never see it again. With Lorcana, that is not the case. Every set enchanted is going to have thousands of copies, and Elsa is always going to be available in terms of like the first chapter Elsa, or even the D2322 Elsa. There's 900 copies of those guys. They're not going to, they're not always going to be at this price, but they're always going to be available. You're always going to be able to get one. Now, capital might be a hindrance there, but they're always going to be available. And so I just say that to tell you not to rush in to a card, set goals, move about your collection with those goals in mind, focus your purchase decisions with those goals in mind. And I think that will, that will help you from having to sell your collection to me whenever you get burnt out and overextended, right? And it's just an important lesson as more, Lorcana is great at bringing in new people from outside of the TCG world. And that slope can be so slippery of, I pulled this enchanted, fast forward 6 months and I'm staring at a massive pile of cardboard. I've been down that slope. I know that slope. And so I think that once again, keeping the fundamentals in mind of buying the cards that you like, setting clear and defined goals, and going about those goals and having those influence your purchase decisions, I think will ultimately lead to success. So with that being said, getting into some like goals that I think are feasible or at least relevant, or things to think about, right, as it relates to Lorcana. So like maybe you're you're more on the investing side, maybe getting a booster box of every single set that's been released, getting a little acrylic case to display them, keep them safe. Maybe that's like a realistic goal for someone who really likes the sealed side of things. Maybe a step further down that goal would be getting a sealed booster box case of every set, right? Like these are goals that you can definitely do. Go out, get your troves from every set, get your gift boxes from every set, like whatever, like a sealed product that you feel, strongly connected with, whether it's a box, whether it's a case, whether it's a gift set, etc. I think that going about those setting a goal of having every booster box and going about it that way will be a recipe for success. Maybe it's starter decks. Quick note: the starter decks, I would grab mine. They're a little bit far away, but they display very well. I really like the way that they display whenever they're out of the box that they come in, but then they're still sealed. This little back flap here that you see on the first chapter, it kind of comes over the front. It's all shrink wrapped. You can see the decks from the side, but it's got a design on the rest of it. They look really cool. So maybe you want to just display those right on a shelf or something like that. Like, you have to decide what's a cool way to go about it for you. But that's kind of where you could come up with some particular goals. For me, like my favorite sealed product that they've released thus far is the Lilo and Stitch gift box. I feel a strong connection to that box. I love this product. I think it's an amazing opening experience regardless of pools. And so I've bought a lot of them, right? And so that's one that, it meets a lot of my wants and needs as a collector, and my goals. Like, I want to have a certain amount of leads, and your goals are going to change over time, and that's okay. But I think setting goals around stuff like this is really going to set you up for success, and it's going to help you. Once again, you're not going to just you could get on eBay or get on TCGPlayer and literally spend an infinite amount of money. You could just buy. We're all great at buying things, right? But having a strategy for those purchase decisions is a different story. Another great goal you could have, in my opinion, something that aligns a lot with what I'm doing. Like, go out and maybe get the D100 cards in a PSA 10, or even maybe you don't even collect graded, so go out and get a raw D100 set, right? Go out and get this set, and then maybe you move on to the D23 2024 set. Or if you're a little bit more of a longer term, collector, and you've got a little more capital, go get the D23 2022 set, right? You kind of got to figure out what makes sense for you. You have, you know your financial situation, what your interests are, and so then you have to kind of craft that strategy and approach around those particular things. But this is one that's definitely on my short list, the D100 PSA 10 promos. These are cards that I bought, and I had the full set. I still have more. I saw my Maui, and I saw Genie and Elsa, I think. But some of the other ones, I was getting some decent multiples. Now, this was over a year ago, right, that I had these cards, but I sold some of them in a PSA 10 because I just got to a price where I knew I was going to be able to buy them again, and they went to a price that I couldn't kind of say no, and sold them, right? And so that'll happen, and but I'm at the point now where these cards, the D100 box most likely isn't getting reprinted again. These promos are kind of out there as much as they're going to be. Now, the pop report's going to continue to go up, but I think the demand for Lorcana is going to continue to go up. And so now this is something that I'm going to be putting capital towards, to just get my PSA 10 set, lock it in, and then it's there, right? And so this will be something that hopefully I'll have a video coming out soon on the channel of me completing this goal of just finishing up the last 2 or 3. I think I might only need 2 in a PSA 10, but that's that's where we're at. Actually, let me critique that. I have a BGS 9.5 Maui that I'm confident is going to cross grade to a PSA 10, but I'm also cross grading my D23 2022 Elsa to PSA, and so I'm doing that at Collecticon in August. So for 4 months I won't complete this goal, because I'm gonna do it in person on site at Collecticon for the GCR. So that goal actually won't be finished in the short term, but the other 5 cards will be, right? And so that's an initial plan of action that I have for that, and I really am gonna try and do less of the initial openings of sets, right? I've been buying multiple cases of these set releases. It's been a ton of fun. I'm building out my play sets. I'm selling the singles. But at the end of the day, I realistically can, maybe get away with buying 1 case and then keeping a few cards, selling a lot of the cards, and kind of leaving it at that, not really building out play sets of every single card within a given set, right? And then that's going to help me, rather than spending anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000 every set release every 4 months. While I'm obviously selling a lot of cards and making a lot of that money back, it's going to free up a lot of capital for me to finish long-term goals like the D100 set or the D23 set, things like that. I still need a PSA 10 Rockstar Stitch from D23. That's like a $3,000 card. I'm going to have to save up a lot or sell a lot to get there, right? That's going to take time. And so that's something that I personally struggle with. What, do I want to save up for that D23 Stitch, which will absolutely be a grail for me, and probably my most expensive card right now that I do not have that I would like to obtain at today's market prices. It would behoove me to maybe not buy the D100 promos and really go after that card, because you should go, in theory, you should go after the most expensive card first. That would be my advice for anyone if you're setting these, if you're going after the D100 set. The Maui's going to be the most expensive because it's so damn hard to grade. So you should go and get that card first, because it's going to be the hardest one to obtain. Now, the market can change, and so that isn't guaranteed, I would say, but that's historically the best strategy to go about it, is go and get the most expensive one first, so that way if there were some sort of black swan event or major shift in demand, you've got the most expensive part of that set already completed, and then you can begin to kind of chip away at the kind of smaller ones. So the D23 Stitch, in theory, should be my next purchase, but I don't have the $2,000, $3,000 to put towards that card right now. And so I'm leveraging things that, completing other goals or selling cards to try and get there, things like that, constantly buying collections to make a little bit of margin to put towards money that either at a graded card or get towards the Stitch, right? It's kind of there's a lot of pieces to go into it. But I think that having goals and going after something like the D100 cards or other promo cards, or look, maybe you're a player and you can even apply this to, like, I've got a Steel Song deck, but I really like to play with, Enchanteds where I can, going out and getting 4 Cindy's, right? That's a solid purchase in my opinion. It's not cheap either, right? You're going to be out like $1,200 if you are, $1,200 if you go and do that. So I think that you could apply this to however you collect, however you play, whatever makes sense for your collection. But setting goals and going about those goals and focusing your purchase decisions on where you truly want to be, in terms of in game, I think is the best way to go about it. And once again, guys, just to kind of wrap it up, every card in Lorcana is readily available. They're going to continue to do so. They might price up, right? And the capital can definitely become a problem over time if you don't get the cards that see the the biggest percentage of gains. Maybe you want to be able to get that card. But for now, I would not worry about that at all. I would not overextend yourself. I would urge caution and patience and finite or defined goals, and don't rush yourself. Even your D23 Elsas, your trophy cards, your serialized Mickeys, whatever it is, like, especially for like the trophy card stuff, like, we do not know what the total supply of those cards are going to be. Like, we know that there's going to be 500 Mickeys out there. Right now there's only 100 and something. Like, we've got a lot more of those to go. We've got, probably a lot more Baymaxes to go and all these different cards. So just take your time, set defined goals, and then just make smart purchase decisions. So that way you're not selling your collection to me at 70 cents on a dollar, 6 months after you started, right? Avoid burnout, go slow, take your time, enjoy it. It's fun as can be. It's too much fun. It should be illegal for it to be this much fun. But yeah, that's my talk for today. So please let me know your thoughts in the comments, and please let me know your goals, right? What are you working on? Are you trying to finish the first chapter, regular and cold foils and enchanteds? Are you trying to collect all the enchanteds? Are you going after a graded goal? Do you have a sealed goal? Like, let's hear some goals, right? What are you guys working towards? What are you looking to finish up, and what are you moving on to next? Long-term goals, short-term goals, right? A little bit of everything. I would love to hear what you guys are working on in the comments. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I appreciate you all, and we'll be back with another video soon. Bye.